Welcome in to the Small Ball Podcast. On today's show, we preview the NBA draft that's coming up this Thursday as we talk about draft night trades and our favorite sleepers in this draft. We have a fun ad read, and we finish the show with a very interesting snail mail question from a listener of the show. Do not forget to like and subscribe. We are on Instagram and YouTube. This is the Small Ball Podcast.
Morant blows by Primo. Attack! Jokic in the power. Here it goes. Got it! Denver has won!
But that's my stubborn side. Like, it's easy to go somewhere and go win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. But this is the hard way to do it, and we did it.
We welcome you in to the Small Ball Podcast alongside Trevor Mickelin and Christian Dennis. I'm Scott Ayers. We also have producer Andy in-house as well. And fellas, we have another show on the horizon. How are we feeling tonight?
You go first, Christian.
All right, yeah, you went first last time, but you know what, Scott, I'm feeling really good. I'm really excited for this week, draft week, which is one of my favorite times of the year. But I just want to give a huge shout out to Andy's mustache right now. It's looking pretty solid. Look at that guy.
Wow.
My mustache never got a shout out from you ever.
Yeah, because it doesn't look as good as Andy's.
What's going on? I'm feeling good today. I air fried some chicken nuggets for lunch. They're really good.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Excited for the draft. This is a big week for small market teams. So this is our NBA finals, if you will.
Yeah, and it's thank goodness those things are done. But no, it is nice. Andy, we actually have an Andy cam today, which is wonderful, so people can remember what he looks like. It's very good to remember our producer Andy. Yeah, give him a point, Andy. Yeah, very good. But before we really get started, we just want to say thank you to all those who have listened back home, whether it's Spotify, YouTube. You've checked us out on our Instagram Reels. All that support is greatly appreciated. One final thing that we ask is if you are subscribed, awesome. 3 thumbs ups. If you aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click on Spotify, 5 stars, whatever it is. Tell your friends, family, strangers.
It helps us greatly.
It does, because we want this thing to grow. We want it to grow from a little chicken egg to a
Big chicken.
to a big chicken. And it all comes with the support from our viewers. So thank you again for all those who have just kind of made this happen. Well, fellas, we've mentioned it a couple times, but it is finally draft week here in the NBA. Less than a week to go, and the NBA draft is upon us this Thursday. I know we've kind of been talking about it before the show. We actually will have a draft special Thursday night that will be on Instagram Live. You'll also be able to check it out on YouTube afterwards. But first, we're going to be previewing a couple different things that we might see in the draft. The first thing is potential trades. I know we talked about that before the show. Christian, why don't you go ahead and lead us off about a potential trade we might see on draft night?
Yeah, I kind of want to just shake up the draft a little bit. Everyone's talking about the projections of the top 3 picks. Basically, it's locked in place. And just to get a little wild, I feel like an option that could happen is the Houston Rockets trading their 3rd pick to move up to the 2nd pick. And in this trade, they'll also be sending the 17th pick to OKC, and in return, they'll get the 34th pick. So let me just recap that. The Rockets will receive the 2nd and the 34th, and the Thunder received the 3rd and the 17th pick. And the reason why I can see the Rockets wanting to move up is because the potential ability of Chet Holmgren being there at number 2. And I think that would be an awesome player for them to prioritize to get in this year's draft because of his added ability to defend. With Paolo, great offensive skill set. Sorry, my voice is gone.
You're tearing up.
Oh, man. But with Sengun there as a foundation for your big man, Holmgren can kind of fill the needs that he's lacking. And so to play make for Jalen Green, stuff like that could be a different sort of shakeup. And then I also think the Thunder could potentially look at Ivy at 3.
I can't look at Christian. He's losing his voice and he's starting to tear up. So now I'm starting to tear up. I'm starting to cry at how good of an idea of a trade this is.
That trade is really interesting. I think from the Rockets' perspective, that I love the fit of Chet next to Alperen Sengun. Alperen has shown really incredible flashes in his rookie year of what he can do offensively. Just great footwork. You see the post moves down there. He's so smooth. Defensively is where he's such a liability. Just a smaller big. And if you throw a guy like Chet Holmgren next to freaking Alperen Sengun, that is such a fun front court. And you have Jalen Green kind of being the guy as the guard there in Houston. I think that trade for them makes so much sense because Chet's like the ideal fit next to Alperen Sengun. With that said, this trade's all hinging on whether or not the Thunder would be interested in trading down to 3, whether that's picking Ivy like you mentioned right there, or I think they would go after Paolo Banchero. I think that's all hinging on whether or not, they would be okay with that. And if their guy isn't Chet or isn't Jabari, because it's a very real possibility that Jabari is the one at 2, because Chet gets picked 1. It's all dependent on that. It's an interesting trade, though. I think Houston would definitely jump the gun on that. Because of fit, and you get a guy that's going to fit perfect with your team as well as just high talent.
Also depends, too, if Orlando ends up picking Chet with the number 1 overall pick, right? There's a lot of different question marks, but that's kind of the fun things of looking into potential trades. A lot has to go into these things for them to happen, but the idea of it is what makes it so exciting. That's what makes draft night really a great night for the NBA and sports as a whole. Trevor, now we send it to you, my good friend. I know you were looking at maybe some smaller trades that we might see on draft night.
Yeah, I was going to say, my trade's not going to be as, high intensity as that one. But a team that I think we're going to see make a move on draft night is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. Andy, that's your team. I think we're going to see something happen there. And they have a lot of moving pieces. They had such a successful season with a team that had in the preseason power rankings for teams that were, I believe it was like 4 years from now. What's the power rankings for these teams? Cleveland came in at dead last. And this team was like at the 6th seed fighting for the playoffs all year long. It's such a success coming out of Cleveland post LeBron era. And what I think they're going to do, this trade does not involve Colin Sexton. We've talked about him before. Colin Sexton's a guy that I would not be surprised if I see moved on draft night or later on in the season before the trade deadline. This trade actually involves Karis LeVert in the 14th pick. Cleveland needs some offense. They need some sparks on there. Their defense is superb. Jarrett Allen, Isaac Okoro, a lot of pieces there in Cleveland that defensively hold their own. I think a guy that they can look at is Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent averaged 18.3 points per game, shot 41% from the field and 38% from deep. He's the ultimate 3-and-D guy. He averaged just under 2 steals per game. I think he's a great fit next to Darius Garland. And with this trade, let's say they don't go out and actually trade Colin Sexton, you retain him. He could be the ultimate 6-man for you coming off the bench behind Gary Trent Jr. and Darius Garland, those 2 guards. Cleveland, that to me is a successful offseason because you keep the guys that keep your team as a top defensive team in the East, and you get a guy that's going to go out there and, compete defensively and also bring some offense to the table. Yeah, go ahead, Andy, producer Andy.
Yeah, no, I actually really like this trade. I think that's exactly what the Cavs need is a 3-and-D guy. I just don't think that the Cavs have the ability to make those shots right now. Their defense has been great, and like you said in the beginning, they were rated very, very low, and just this past season, like that, I think they were only rated at 36 wins, and they far and surpassed that halfway through the season. So my expectations for them this season are a lot higher, but I think adding Gary Trent Jr. will allow them to meet those expectations very feasibly.
Yeah, it's an interesting trade, and Cleveland is going to be a team that I think you can guarantee them making some kind of move on draft night, just because they have so many moving pieces, and they're just trying to find a way after a successful season to build off that. You can go out and spend some pieces and get something in return.
I'm glad you chose Toronto too, because I don't know if Toronto would make that deal with Cleveland, but I do think there's someone to look for as well on draft night or in the leading weeks to the preseason. I think they have a lot of question marks. OG and Gary Trent maybe not happy with their roles, so I don't know if that's going to be something that they'd hop on with LeVert. I don't know if they'd be crazy about taking on that contract, but definitely something that you could look forward to. And if you're Cleveland, could be a really sweet move to acquire Gary Trent Jr. Well, fellers, I think it's time to move on from potential fellers. You like that? Yeah.
I don't.
Well, fellers and producer Andy, we're going to move on to potential trades, just something that I think excites us a little bit more, and that's potential prospects. We focused a lot on those top four guys, Shane Ivey, Chet Holmgren, et cetera, et cetera. But now it's time to look for maybe not a diamond in the rough. These are still pretty successful players, but guys that we think still have that potential of stardom in the NBA. And I think Malachi Branham is a great person to start off with from Ohio State. Just a tremendous player, freshman of the year in Big Ten play. And we mentioned Cleveland. I would love to see that fit in Cleveland. He's great in the pick and roll game. Do you know who would be great in the pick and roll game with him? Jared Allen. You like that, producer Andy? I was thinking of you when I said that. But overall, he was tremendous at Ohio State. His career high was against the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 35 points per game. But it wasn't against even the lowest of lows where he played really well. I mean, he was great against Villanova in the NCAA tournament. And just under 40% from three, over 80% from the free throw line, and he's 18 years old. And I think as an NBA franchise, that's what excites you the most, that maybe he's a little raw when it comes to ball handling, but overall, he's a great shot creator. He's nice from beyond the arc. And I think anywhere in that picks 10 to 15, this could be a really huge potential steal for any of those teams. Yeah, producer Andy.
Yeah, I mean, I watch Malachi play like every night, and I think he's that guy. I think when you put the pressure on him, that he can really buckle down and get you what you need to get. He is young, but I think you can build a lot on his fundamentals and the way he plays basketball. I think it just complements the NBA now a lot. And he's a very plug-and-play player. Like, you can just plug him into a system, and he's going to adapt over time. It might take him a little bit, but I think that's any rookie nowadays. And he's very, very special, and I think his talent upside is way higher than a lot of people think.
You think Cleveland would be a good fit for him?
I think Cleveland would be a great fit for him. I think there's other teams that would accept him into their role a lot better. I just think Cleveland's in a delicate situation where they could just continue with who they have and just continue to dominate well, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
My team, my player? All right. My player is Tari Eason. I think that this kid is a diamond in the rough. He's a sophomore who jumped onto the scene after transferring from Cincinnati to LSU. So his size, he's 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. His hands are 9 1/4 inches by 11 inches. Get a ruler. Think about that. Oh. Listeners, get a ruler. 9.25 inches by 11 inches. Those hands are big. Imagine being tickled by Tari Eason.
I don't want to.
No, please.
I don't
Please,
want to
Tari,
either.
no.
Because this guy, not only are his hands big, but he's athletic. This guy can jump out the gym. And he has so much, just with his size, defensive potential. And the stats in his sophomore season proved it. He averaged 2 steals per game. And he's a forward that was able to switch onto guards and hold his own due to his lateral quickness and his length that I mentioned earlier. And get this. This guy averaged 5 blocks per game, not per game, 5 blocks per 40 minutes played. So he's super, super athletic, super lengthy, has all the like physical tools needed to be a great defender in the NBA. And usually if we're talking diamonds in the rough, we're like, all right, so he's really good defensively, but he's probably really raw offensively. He's actually not. He's a 3-level scorer. He shot 36% from deep last year. Now, given his a question mark that many NBA scouts are having, I'm guessing, is because of his funky shot mechanics. You can compare him to like a Tyrese Halliburton or a LaMelo Ball, where a shot does not look good. But he shot 36% from deep. And he averaged just under 17 points per game last year for LSU. And part of that was his shooting, but also teams couldn't keep him off the free throw line. He attacked, and he averaged just under 6 attempts per game, and he shot 80% from the free throw line, which is telling for NBA prospects going into the league. Is what's their free throw percentage? A lot of the times it correlates to their 3-point percentage later on in their career. This guy's so good. He yams on dudes. He dunks on dudes' heads. He can shoot. He can play defense. And he just plays with high energy, high emotion. Any team that drafts him, I feel like he's going to become a fan favorite with whatever city he goes to, because he's just going to bring so much passion and energy onto the court. If I'm a team from freaking 12 to 20 and he's on the board, I am having a hard time not picking him just because I think this kid has so much upside.
No, I like that a lot. I mean, a lot of people, compare him to like a Kawhi Leonard-esque type.
Whoa.
Wow.
Hello.
Esque type.
Big hands.
Yeah, so he's very intriguing, and I've always kind of liked him as a prospect, kind of in that like late lotto, kind of middle of the first round. The diamond in the rough that I'm choosing, he's older, and I think he is pretty NBA ready, and he's gonna come in and he's gonna help a team that's already, more defined, kind of contending, and that's Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara. He averaged 18 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and he shot 39% from the 3-point line. And he is 6'6", about 210. So he's like a big guard. He could be a solid 2 guard. But what he is amazing at is just playmaking. I could see him maybe being like on a team like Denver, for example, of, having some pick and roll duties, playmaking, maybe to get Jamal open, so that it's not always running through Jokic, stuff like that. He's just really high basketball IQ. And when you watch his highlights, he has all the moves. He has, a package to where he can get himself open and also draw on defense to where he can kick it out. So I just love the playmaking ability of what Jalen Williams could be.
Yeah, I actually like Jalen Williams the best for the Cavs fit. I like him over Malachi fitting in with the Cavs for next season.
Producer Ernie, why is that?
I just like the way he plays. I think he has his play style fits well with the Cavs, where you can just plug him in and he's going to be that defender that can be able to come off the bench and still be able to defend better than some of the other players on the Cavs right now. And he's still that 3-point shooter where you can give him the ball and he's just going to you know he's going to make it. And even then, he's got this move that I saw that he's been working on where he comes up through the middle and he's at the top of the key and he's about 17 feet back and he just drains it every time. And it's just such a beautiful shot. It's something that I want to see on the Cavs.
It's good.
It's good. Now I want to see it on the Nuggets. Now you're talking. But like we kind of said, this is a pretty brief preview of what you should expect to hear us on Thursday again. It's going to be our NBA draft special. We're going to be covering the first 15 picks and beyond. Just kind of talking about different fits, our overall thoughts. And truthfully, we're really excited for it. It is going to be live, so buckle up because there's no second chances, right, fellas?
Nope.
Yeah, it'll be like a recap. After the first 15 picks is when we'll hop on Instagram Live. You guys can tune in there, and then we'll just be uploading our normal podcast. We'll be recording then. But yeah, tune in. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I think it should be a blast, and just it's a great way for us to actually interact with people who are listening and watching the show as well. So come prepared, ask us any dumb question that you want, and we'll see where the night takes us. But we're kind of getting to that point where there's one last segment, but before that, what are the odds? We have another advertisement.
Another one?
Yeah. I swear, I wake up in the morning, I have a new email notification.
Where are these coming from?
I have no idea. And it's one email, and it says, new ad. And so this ad read here today, it's a special ad. It's actually someone who keeps the pool nice and clean. It's a very kind individual, a friend of the show. It's Frank the Pool Guy.
Frank the Pool Guy.
Yeah, Frank the Pool Guy. And not only is he wonderful, very kind, but guess what? He played 3 sports in high school, won 3 different championships. Yeah, and he played college football.
Whoa.
Whoa. Did you guys play college football?
No.
Nope.
No, neither did I. And finally, he loves LaCroix, which is our second show sponsor, LaCroix. Do you like bubbly, tasty water with maybe a hint of a pear? Then try LaCroix. So thank you, LaCroix, and thank you, Frank the Pool Guy, for keeping our pools crystal clear.
Wow. Yeah, Frank is literally our pool guy. And we learned all of this from one conversation with him last week when he was cleaning our pool.
Yeah, and he is one cool guy.
He's a great guy.
He is.
Great guy.
Great guy. Thank you, Frank.
Maybe we can have him on the pod.
I would love Frank on the pod.
I'll talk to him next time. I'll bring him out of LaCroix and chit-chat with him about
Frank's
the podcast.
Yeah.
LaCroix of the week. And then he just talks about his favorite LaCroix flavor. But that actually goes into our last segment, which is snail mail. We've got another great listener of the show sent in this question. And the cool thing is you have a chance of being on our show as well. Just send a message to one of us 3 or DM us on Instagram, and we will try to find you a way on the show. Anyways, let's get to the question.
We got Alex from Phoenix. Here is the question.
Hey boys, got a fun one for you. So obviously there's 3 of you that host this podcast. Kind of resembles an NBA Big 3. If you guys had to compare yourselves to a Big 3, which one would you be and who would be which superstar? Just kind of run with this one. Let me know how it goes. As always, go Suns.
Go Suns. I love that question so much. It's a good one.
That is a fun question. And how I think we should do it,
Yep.
here's my vision.
Give us it.
Let me put the hat backwards. Here's my vision. We all pick a Big 3. A Big 3 we want.
Okay.
And then I think, like you said, we assign who we think.
I love it.
And then producer Andy can be the judge of which Big 3
You
is
get
the
to
most
choose.
accurate. So it's kind of like American Idol where you vote at the end. So who wants to lead us off? Christian, Trevor?
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah. Nice.
Trey
Christian.
Dennis.
All right. So my Big 3 that I chose is relevant. It is a current Big 3.
Whoa.
And it is the Oklahoma City Thunders.
They have a
Big
Big 3?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Let me tell you. Let me break it down to you. The Big 3 is SGA, Josh Giddey, and the 2028 first round pick.
The 2028 first round.
Yes. So obviously I'm SGA because I'm a hooper, you know. I just always hoop. And Trevor is Josh Giddey.
Let's go. I love that.
Because I know that you would love to be friends with Giddy.
I would love to be friends with Giddy. He's very funny.
And Scott is the 2028 first round pick because his body most resembles a middle school boy.
That's good. That's good, Scott. How do you feel about being the 2028 first round pick?
It makes me sick. I am built. I have a wonderful body.
No body shame, man.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
not shaming you.
Yeah,
It just most resembles
I
a
am.
middle
I
school
will
boy.
say I am built like a wet spaghetti noodle, so it makes the most amount of sense. But it does hurt a little bit. But I get it. Trevor, who's your big three?
Oh man, we're talking Grizzlies. Yeah, and I'm talking grinded out Grizzlies, coached by Dave Yeager.
Jägermeister.
Yep, that's what we're talking about. And the big three, obviously, is Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph,
Okay.
and Mike Conley. Yep, just
Say,
let that.
say that one more time.
Marc Gasol,
Okay.
Zach Randolph,
Zebo.
Oh,
and Mike Conley.
wow. Okay.
Did that settle in well?
Yeah, that's settling well
Good.
because I can't be called a middle school boy again.
No. But you are going to be the smallest out of the three. Not for that reason. You're a lefty. You know, Mike Conley, dude, he's so reliable. You are so reliable as a friend on this show, Scott. I can always rely on you. You are my point guard. You are Michael Conley, 3-and-D guy, can play make. Wasn't an all-star in Memphis, but eventually became an all-star in Utah later on. So I'm proud of you for that. Great point guard. Christian Dennis, a.k.a. Marc Gasol. Wow. Yeah.
I'm in Spain.
Yeah. Christian Dennis. Christian Dennis is the ultimate high post playmaker in pickup ball. I've seen him make so many no look passes from the elbow that, you know, as soon as I thought of my big three, you were Marc Gasol.
Wow. Thank you.
At one point in his career, he was the best, you know, according to the national media, the best center in the NBA. Yeah, due to the success of the Grizzlies and because of his playmaking, rebounding, defense, he's really the whole package. Yep. And then we're also going to talk about the final big three. Myself is Zach Randolph. Quickly, bullies get bullied where I'm from. You don't mess with me. I'm a bully.
Wow.
Trevor, you dog.
You are a dog.
You caught me barking episode 1.
It's true. And now here we are. Well, my final big three. So we focused on OKC, the good people of Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, we go to back home again in Indiana. We're going to talk about
The birthplace of basketball, baby.
the Indianapolis. Oh, no, not the. I was going to say the Indianapolis 500. But we're going to talk about the Indiana Pacers. Whoa. Here's. Yeah. Oh, nice.
okay.
Is that your race car?
Yeah. Even though, isn't a pacer like a horse?
No, I don't know. They have racing. I feel like it's racing.
It's got to be race.
I don't know,
Andy,
man.
Andy, can you look up what a pacer is?
Isn't it just like a pacer car?
It is a pace car.
Yeah. I thought that's what a pacer was.
Oh.
All right. Well, Pacers. Let's go. Let's
Pacers.
hear
All
this.
right. Anyways, so I went back and forth. I was deciding between the 2012 Eastern Conference semifinal
Oh my
team
gosh.
or the 2014 Eastern Conference final team, and I rested upon the 2012 team.
Okay.
Thank goodness. I am Roy Hibbert.
No. So here's the best part. I actually left Roy out of this big three.
What?
Because here's what I went and said. I went with a young Paul George.
Okay.
Young.
Yeah, of course.
Young Paul George. I went with the leading scorer, David West, of that series.
Oh my gosh. Of
And
that
finally,
series.
I went with the guy who you probably loved him in 2K11, 2K10, 2K9, Danny Granger.
You're in Granger danger.
It's Granger Danger's time. And I also love this because like this Pacers team, this big three, they came up short. Just like maybe we come up short to the king of podcasts, JJ Redick, right? So, ooh, you like that symbolism at its finest, there, folks. I like Christian as David West.
Tell me why.
Let me pull up a picture of David West.
I don't know how that is going to
I know what David West looks like, and I look nothing like
I don't
David
know how
West.
that will convince us.
Put a side by side of Christian and David West for me. Okay, perfect. So
Done.
Thank you. So there's Christian and there's David West. Just bully basketball, mean in the paint. Christian, I like you as David West. That's about it. Trevor, though, I actually have you as Paul George.
What?
Whoa.
A rising star, a growing star.
Yeah.
At some point, you will leave us and
I'm
you will
still
hurt
growing.
us deeply. But in this time, you're still growing.
Okay.
You like
Good.
that?
I love being Paul George.
Yeah. And I'm Danny Granger because I'm awesome.
That's your only reason.
That's my only reason. I was like, I love Danny Granger.
I
I've
love
gotta be
Danny Granger is so fun.
Yeah,
bro.
he's awesome. And on the 2014 team, he doesn't really exist. So I was like, I've got to go 2012 so I can be Danny Granger.
You had to find a way to make yourself Danny Granger.
I had to find a way.
That's
And it
good.
meant Christian Dennis was David West.
That's good. Alex,
good.
that was such a good question.
That
Thank
was,
you for that.
yeah, those are the kind of questions we love. Some NBA related, lets us have some fun.
DM us, please. Send us videos of questions, and you will most likely be featured on the show.
Yeah, definitely. And before, we say goodbye, producer Andy, you have any thoughts of our big three, or do you have a big three of your own?
Honestly, I really like Trevor's. I think his made the most sense. I really like the.
Have you seen Scott's body? He looks like a middle school boy.
Does that mean you also look like David West?
Okay, fair.
No, I think that Memphis three was so much fun, and towards the end of it, they were really starting to figure it out. They were making the playoffs, and Marc Gasol was looking immaculate as ever, and I just liked it a lot.
Would you change your mind if I changed mine to a big four and I made you George Hill?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna change my mind.
Love it.
That's perfect. Well, this is kind of that end point, but like we've said a couple of times, please tune in Thursday. We are very excited to do this live draft coverage with you all. But until then, it's that ending point of the show. So for producer Andy, Trevor Mickelin, and Christian Dennis, I'm Scott Harris. We say so long for now, and we will see you Thursday night.
Holy cannoli.